Hi, it's Monika from Educk.org. In this video, I show you how to get started in SketchUp. If you are a beginner or you want to refresh your knowledge, this tutorial is just for you. I teach you the most important tools and how to work in SketchUp effectively. Remember, this is the most important SketchUp tutorial because understanding fundamentals is crucial to developing skills and mastering SketchUp. Let's get started. I've just opened SketchUp and the window has appeared. As you can see at the top, we have templates to choose if we want to create new model. Also, we can open file which we've created before or open recent files. This time I will create a new project from scratch. That's why I will choose template. Let's see that we have several templates to choose with units. I will choose architectural template with centimeters, but don't worry if you choose wrong units. Later you can change units in SketchUp. I click on the template and wait to open. And this is SketchUp. Let's see that it's divided into some parts. In the middle we have Workspace, in which we will create models and shapes. On the left side we have the tools to draw new shapes, model 3D objects, or navigate the scene. At the top we have additional tools which we can use to create 3D objects. And on the right side we have default tray with many useful tabs. Firstly, let's focus on the left side. Probably your SketchUp screen is not the same as mine. To turn on this large toolset on the left side, just right-click somewhere here at the top bar and check Large Tool Set. If you check it, it will appear. It's very handy to have Large Tool Set turned on. At the top bar, we have few tool sets. If I right-click, I can add more tool sets. For example, drawing, edit, or shadows. Let's see that all these toolbars you can move and place it anywhere in SketchUp. And place it at the top bar, like that. If I click on the vertical dots, again, I can move it down and place it anywhere in the scene. Remember that you can always close these tabs, just click on the X icon. Mostly I use Camera toolset, Section, Solid Tools, and Views. Let's move on to the right side. Here we have default tray and there are a lot of very useful tabs. For example, Entity Info tab. If I click on this object, I have all information about this model. Here I have text with layers which I can create and assign object to it. I can also create scenes or create and apply materials to the objects. If I go to the Window tab and to Default Tray, I can hide or show tray. I click on Hide Tray and it disappeared. I will do this again. I go to the Window tab, Default Tray, and this time I will show tray. Also, in this place we can check more positions and add new tabs. For example, Fog, Match Photo, or Soften Edges. If I click on X, I can delete these tabs. For now, they are not necessary. And the most important, the window in the middle. This is our workspace, and in this place we will create new shapes, 3D models, new furniture, interiors or exteriors. Let's take a look. Here we have 3 axes: red axis, green axis, and blue axis. Thanks to them, we can create the shapes according to the axis. Then everything will be more precise in the scene. Let's navigate the scene. To do this, we can use tools which are on the left side. This is Pen tool. If I click on this tool, I can move the scene. Then I have Orbit tool. In this way, I can orbit the view. I can also zoom this in, zoom in, or zoom out by moving the mouse up and down. Remember that we can do it even faster. If you have scroll wheel on your mouse, just click on scroll wheel, and in this way you can orbit the view. If I scroll up and down, I can zoom in or zoom out. If you want to use pen tool, just use the shortcut. This is letter H. I press H on the keyboard and I can move the view. So remember that it's faster to use shortcuts and scroll wheel. Let's draw the first object. We will do this using a line tool. But firstly, I will delete this object. I need to select it. That's why I can click on the arrow icon, select, or press spacebar on the keyboard. I click on the object and press delete. Let's draw. I click on the line tool. Using this tool, we can create new lines and shapes. I click on this and click somewhere here. I click once and move it to the right side or to the left side. Let's see that our line changes color. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's red, or sometimes it's blue. It depends on the axis. If I draw along the blue axis, my line will be blue. If I draw along the green axis, my line will be green. It's very helpful and we should draw along the axis. I click a second time, then I drag it to the right side, click again, to the left side, click, and connect the lines. Let's see that the shape has appeared. If I press spacebar to go to the select mode, I can select faces and edges. This is our first shape in SketchUp. Let's do this again. I click on the line tool, click once, second time, but this time I will create something different. Sometimes I draw lines along the axis, sometimes I draw different lines and connect all the lines. Let's see that we have a different non-regular shape. Let's create the third shape, and this time I will create a very different shape. I will draw the lines in all directions. Let's connect these lines and press spacebar to finish the drawing. Let's see that if I created the shape which is not drawn in 2D plane, then I have only lines. There is no face in the middle. This is because the lines are drawn in 3 dimensions. So remember to create 2D shape. Let's draw something more precisely. To make it easier, I will create a rectangle. That's why I click on the rectangle tool, click once, and click second time. It was very easy and very fast to create the shape. I would like to be more precise. That's why I would like to create a rectangle with dimensions 100 by 100 centimeters. We can do it very fast. Just click somewhere here in the project, drag it to the left, make sure that your rectangle is in blue color, so it means that it's in horizontal plane. And let's take a look at the bottom right corner. There is a dimensions bar, and here we can specify the exact dimensions. For example, 100 by 100 centimeters. To do this, I type 100, 100 and press enter. This is our new rectangle. Let's change the dimensions. If we are not sure if it's 100 by 100 rectangle, we can always check it. Just click on the tape measure tool and click on the vertex. I click once, drag it to the right side, and let's say that this is the length of the edge, 100 centimeters. Notice that I'm clicking only once at this point. Then I move it to this place. And again, the length of the edge is 100 centimeters. In this way, we can measure every distance. We can also create precise shape using Line tool. Let's do this. I click on the Line tool, click once, drag it to the right side, and type, for example, 30 centimeters. The line is 30 centimeters long. Then I go to the right side, type 40 centimeters, and press Enter. And then I can connect these lines together. Okay, it's done. Let's measure. I click on the Tape Measure tool, click on the first edge, and move it to the right side. It's 30 centimeters. I press Escape, and again, I click here on this corner, and move it to the right. Here we have 40 centimeters. Everything is alright. Let's see that our dimensions are centimeters. Remember that you can always change it. Just go to the Window tab and choose Model Info. Here we have some tabs, and at the bottom there are units. Here we can change the length, for example to inches or meters, and we can change area, or we can change volume. I will set area and length to centimeters as it was before, but remember that in this place you can always change the units. Let's create a new shape, but before I do that, I will delete all the shapes in the scene. To do this, I click somewhere here, hold the left mouse button, and select all the objects in the scene. Then I press Delete. All the shapes are deleted. Let's create a new object. It can be rectangle again. I click once and twice. Let's see that we can move edges and face. To do this, I select the edge. It's selected, and then I click on the Move tool. It's over here. I click on this. Click anywhere in the project, it can be here, and move it to the left. We can move the edge by specific distance, for example 20 centimeters. So I type 20 and press Enter. It's done. We can also move the face. I click on the face, it's selected. If the face is selected, we can notice multiple small dots on the face. Click on the Move tool and move it to the right side, for example, by 10 centimeters. I type 10 and press Enter. Remember that we can also rotate the object. Just click on the Rotate tool, click somewhere here, it can be on the face or on the edge. Click once, click second time, and rotate the object. We can rotate it, for example, by 90 degrees. Let's see that on the bottom right corner we have angle. I click the third time and it's rotated. We can do this several times. I click once, I click a second time and rotate it, for example, by 45 degrees. And again, I click once, second time, and again rotate it by 45 degrees. It's done. The third very important tool is Scale. If I select the face, as you can see it's selected, I click on the Scale tool and scale the face in red direction or in green direction. The scale value is visible, it's set to 1, but I can change it and type it to 0.5 and press Enter. The shape is scaled. Remember about these tools: Move tool, Rotate tool, and Scale tool. You will use them very often in SketchUp. It's time to create 3D shape. If you want to create 3D shape, firstly what you need to do is to create 2D shape. If you want to convert it to 3D model, we need a push-pull tool. This tool is on the left side. It's very useful and important tool. Just click on this tool, click on the face, and drag it up. Let's see that our face is extruded. We can use specific value, for example 30. I type 30 and press enter. This is our 3D object. Remember that using a push-pull tool, you can extrude any face you want. If I click on the face and move it to the left side, press left Ctrl. If I press left Ctrl, my model is divided into 2 parts. If I press left Ctrl again, it's not divided. So we can decide if we want to divide this object or not. I press left Ctrl and click somewhere here. Thanks to it, we can create more complex shape. Let's try to do this with multiple faces. I click on the face, press left Ctrl, and divide this object into 2 parts. Let's see that if you are using push-pull tool, some additional lights will appear. For example, in this place. This line divides the shape into 2 parts. Remember that you can always delete this line. To do this, just click on the edge and press delete, or you can click on the eraser tool and delete unnecessary lines. For example, here and here. And this is our complex shape. Let's create a new 3D object. That's why I will delete this one. I select it and press delete. I will create kitchen cabinet. To do this, I click on the rectangle tool, zoom in using scroll wheel, click once, drag it to the right, zoom out a little bit, and type 60 by 60 centimeter, 60, 60, and press enter. Then I will create 3D object, so I click on the push-pull tool, click on the face, I type 82 and press enter. Let's divide this object into 2 parts. To do this, I click on the face, press left Ctrl, and move it down. I move it down by 72 centimeters. So I type 72 and press enter. Thanks to this, my object is divided into 2 parts. The first part has the length of 10 centimeters, and here I have 72 centimeters. I will move this face using a push-pull tool by 5 centimeters. Let's see that all the faces in the model are white, but this face is gray. Remember that in SketchUp we have front faces and back faces. Try to have all the front faces in the objects. They should be white. If you see that one of your face is gray, click on the face, right-click, and then choose Reverse Faces. And the face at the top is again the front face. It's time to create the fronts. We will do this very quickly using a new tool. It will be Offset tool. So I click on the Offset tool, then I click on the edge. It can be here at the top or on the left side. Click once, drag it inside, and type 0.5 centimeters. So I want to have 5 mm offset. Okay, it's done. And then using a push-pull tool, I can pull this face by 2 centimeters. It's done. Remember that you can always change this front using a push-pull tool. Remember that we can delete unnecessary faces. I click on the eraser tool and click this face and this face on the right side. And this is our kitchen cabinet. Let's move on and create groups and components. I would like to move this object. We can do it in two ways. The first way is to select this object by clicking somewhere here. I click, drag to the left side, and select all the faces and edges of the model. And then I can move this object, for example, to the right side. It can be a little difficult to select this object in this way. For now, we have only one object, but if we have, for example, 100 objects in the scene, it will be difficult to select them in this way. So we can do it in second way. Click once on this face, and the face is selected. Now click 2 times on this face, very fast, 1, 2, and the face and the edges are selected. And click 3 times, very fast, 1, 2, 3, all the edges and faces are selected. So remember, if you want to select the object very fast, click 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it's selected. Now we can move this object. We can do it even better, create groups. To create groups, we need to select the object. I click 3 times and right click. Here I can make component or make group. This time I make group. Let's say that our object is grouped. Now it's very easy to move this group without selecting each face and each edge of the object. So remember, if you model the objects, it's very important to group it. Thanks to it, it will be very easy to move it, to scale it, and rotate it very fast. We can also copy the object. To do this, select the object, select the group, then click somewhere here, move it to the right side, and press left Ctrl. If you press left Ctrl, the object is copied. If I press it again, it's copied. So I will copy it, and we have 2 kitchen cabinets. I can edit cabinets. To do this, we need to open the group. I click 2 times on the cabinet, and again, I can select faces or edges of the cabinet. I can change the appearance of the cabinet. This one will be higher or wider, and it's changed. If you want to close the group, just press Escape or click somewhere here at the corner. And we are out of the group. Again, I click 2 times on the group, and I can select and change the faces and edges. I right-click and close group. Let's see that these 2 groups are not connected to each other. This is because they are groups. We can do something different. Let's see. I will copy this model, move it, press left Ctrl. Okay, and we have 3rd cabinet. I will explode this object, so right-click and choose Explode. If I explode the object, it's not a group anymore. This time I will create component. I click 3 times, 1, 2, 3, right-click and make component. I can name this component, for example, cabinet, and create. I will copy this component, choose Move tool, press left Ctrl, and copy it again. And let's take a look. I have 2 components and 2 groups. These groups are not connected to each other. Let's check the components. I click 2 times to go to the component editing mode. Click on the face, and let's see that if I click on the face of the component, the face on the first component is also selected. And if I change this component on the left side, we have the same situation with the second component. So remember that groups are not connected to each other, but components are connected. If I change one component, I will change another component at the same time. If I create 10 components and change only one of them, all the components will be changed. So if you have a lot of the same objects, it's better to create components. If they are not connected to each other, you can create groups. It's time to create something new. It will be a building. To do this, I will delete these cabinets. I select them and press delete. To create the walls, I will use rectangle tool. That's why I click on this tool, click somewhere here, and drag it to the right side. The dimensions of the rectangle will be 600 by 800 centimeters. So I type 600, 800 centimeters and press enter. This is our rectangle, and I would like to create the walls. To do this, I will use offset tool. I click on this tool, click on the edge. It can be here or on the left side, and drag it inside. The thickness of the wall can be, for example, 30 centimeters. I press enter, and I have two faces, inner and outer face. I select the inner face and press delete. Using a push-pull tool, I will create the wall. I click on this tool, select the face, and drag it up by 280 centimeters and press enter. Okay, this is our wall, and it's time to create openings. We will create window and door openings. We can do it precisely using guidelines. I want to create a window, and the distance between this edge and the window will be 100 centimeters. I will do it using a guideline. I click on the tape measure tool, click on this vertical edge, and move it to the left side. I will type the exact dimension, 100 centimeters, and press enter. I will place the window at the height of 90 centimeters. That's why I click on the edge at the bottom and drag it up by 90 centimeters. I type this value and press enter. I will create a rectangle. I click on the rectangle tool, click at the intersection of the two guidelines, and move it to the left. Let's see that the rectangle is red, and it means that we are creating vertical rectangle. The dimensions of window opening will be 100 by 100 centimeters. Let's type it, and it's done. To create the opening, we need to use the push-pull tool. But firstly, let's see that we have two faces, inner face and outer face. So this rectangle divided our one large face into two faces. I select the inner face, click on the push-pull tool, and drag it to the right side. If I click on the inner edge, I can see that I've created the window opening. Let's do this again. I will not be that precise. That's why I click on the rectangle tool and draw it somewhere here. Okay. Then I click on the push-pull tool, click on the face, and move it to the inner edge. And it's done. It's time to create the door opening. I click on the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle with the dimensions 100 by 210 centimeters. And this is our rectangle. I will use push-pull tool to create this opening. And it's done. In this way, we can create many openings for the door and windows. Remember to use guidelines. You can delete these guidelines, just click on them and press delete. Also, you can go to the Edit tab and choose Delete Guides. All the guidelines in the project disappeared. Let's group these elements. To do this, I click 3 times on the walls, 1, 2, 3, right-click and make group. Now it's time to create the floor. To do this, I will use Rectangle tool. I click on the Rectangle tool, click somewhere here in the corner and drag it to the left side. Let's see that my rectangle is blue. It means that it's drawn in horizontal plane. I click here and this is my rectangle. I will create material for this floor. To do this, I expand the Materials tab. It's on the right side over here in the default tray. And then I click on the Create Material icon. This is this box with plus icon. Here, I can name the material. It will be floor material. Then I can select the color of the material from the color wheel or RGB color modes and others. Also, we can use the texture. I prepared the texture. You can download this texture from the materials. The link to the materials is in the description of the video. I check Use Texture Image and select this texture. It's done. Instead of color, I have a texture. For now, I will leave the dimension of the texture as it is. I click OK, and a new texture has appeared. It's time to apply this texture to the object. That's why I click on the floor material and apply it to the rectangle. Let's see that the icon has changed to the paint bucket. I click on the rectangle and a new material has appeared. Let's come a little closer. As we can see, this material is definitely too small. We need to enlarge it. To do this, I go to the Materials window, go to the Edit tab, and here I have dimensions of the texture. For now it's 10 by 10. I will change it to 200. And it's much bigger. I think that it's too small. I will change it to 500. And it's done. We can check the dimensions of the texture. To do this, I will use Tape Measure tool. I click on this and I can check the dimensions. It's 11 centimeters. I think that it's fine. I will leave it as it is. Remember that you can change the dimensions of the texture in this place on the right side, or you can right-click on the texture, choose Texture and Position. Now I can move the texture, change the size of the texture by clicking on the green icon and move it to the right side or to the left side. I can also rotate it by 90 degrees, but I will leave it as it is. I can also right-click on the texture and choose Rotate by 90 degrees, and it's rotated. And this is our texture. I press Enter. Okay, it's done. Remember that you can use existing materials. Just go to the Select tab, and here there are many categories of the materials. For example, colors. And I can choose a color, light gray color, and I apply this material to the group. And the color is different. Let's change the different colors. And it's done. Now we can create slabs for the building. Firstly, I will group this floor. If you created shape or 3D objects, it's very important to group it or create components. Right-click and make Group. I group the floor so I can create the slab. I click on the rectangle, and create rectangle over here. Then I will use push-pull tool to create the slab. The thickness will be 15 centimeters. It's done. I click 3 times, right-click, and make group. And we have slab in the scene. The last thing is to create tags and assign object to these tags. Let's go to the right side. Here I have Tags tab. I expand this and create new tag. The first tag will be wall. I click on the plus icon. The second tag will be floor. And the third tag will be slab. I click on the plus icon and name it slab. I want to assign this object to the layers. That's why I select the slab. I go to the Entity Info window and assign this model to the slab tag. Then I click on the walls and assign this object to the wall. And then I click on the floor and assign this object to the floor tag. All the objects are assigned to the tags, and if I disable this layer, change the visibility, these models will disappear. So I have a lot of control over my model. Thank you for your time. I invite you to the full SketchUp basic course. During this course, I will teach you everything about SketchUp in the step-by-step method. See you on the course. Bye!